It is May 24th, and this is the latest news update for Medellin, Colombia, and Colombia as a whole. Follow along.
You're watching dcbornrob, racing borders. And now, news.
Okay, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever it is you're located. Thanks for watching. My name is Rob Christian, also known as dcbornrob. DC Rob, I answer to them all. Thank you guys for watching. Again, in this video, I'm going over the latest news from Medellin, Colombia, and Colombia as a whole. But first, if you ever get any benefit out of my videos, do me a favor, go down and hit the subscribe button, click the bell to be alerted of any new videos, and like helps the YouTube algorithm. The more you hit like, the more people get to watch these videos. Let's jump into the news stories right away. Okay, my first news story is from El Colombiano. It's entitled, "In Medellin, they capture foreigners accused of fraud." That's right, foreigners, and you'd be surprised. A Colombian American, a Canadian, a Dutch citizen were all captured, requested for extradition for the legal participation in crimes of national securities, fraud, and electronic fraud. It says those captured will be placed in the hands of foreign authorities. Looks like some are coming to Texas. In the last few hours, 8 people were captured, including Colombians, Americans, Dutch, and Canadians, allegedly involved in drug trafficking, fraud, and conspiracy to commit crimes. The detainees are required for extradition by district courts in Texas and in New York in the United States. In Medellin, citizens Chester Bruce Alvarez Campbell, Colombian American, and Troy Barrington Graham Brooks, Canadian, were arrested, requested for extradition for their alleged participation of crimes of national securities, fraud, and electronic fraud. It says, according to the documentation sent by U.S. authorities, these men apparently posed as stock investors in fictitious companies. This condition would have allowed them to encourage other people to buy shares for which they restored to false information. Okay, the Dutch citizen, Justin Plaisier, who was being investigated for crimes of securities and electronic fraud, was also made available to the authorities, in addition to conspiracy to commit crime. Between January 2016 and July 2019, Plaisier reportedly used fraudulent information to encourage U.S. citizens to invest in companies that were allegedly publicly traded. Among those captured also are Colombians who, during 2020 and 2021, would have integrated an organization dedicated to cocaine trafficking. According to the investigation, shipments of illicit substances were made through logistics companies and airlines, whose planes departed from Bogota's El Dorado Airport to the United States, making stops in Mexico and other Central American countries. Wow. Those captured in Bogota are David Ricardo Rodriguez Lopez, Jesus Alberto Beleño Zapata, Walter Gomez Castro, Johnny Antonio Bernal Jimenez, and Ivan Rene Gonzalez Machado, who must appear in court for crimes of conspiracy to commit a crime and illicit drug trafficking. Okay. My next story is from Minuto Trente. It's entitled, "They Capture a Venezuela Selling Barretta in the Center of Medellin." And I'll tell you at the end why I'm doing this. It's just a short one. It says a judge sentenced her to 64 months in jail and ordered that soon she completes her sentence, she be expelled from the country. Okay, it says a Venezuelan citizen who was sent to jail for the crime of trafficking, manufacturing, or carrying drugs. According to official information, the woman was discovered by the authorities when she was carrying marijuana for sale. She also carried a narcotic substance, cocaine net weight for third parties, and 300 clonazepam pills. Okay, Maria, if you're watching, we need to know what clonazepam pills are. This name was also brought up by one of my viewers, and they sent me an email, so thanks for the shout out too. So when I saw this story, I said, let me get this out too. It's another way to drug outside of scopolamine. It says the Venezuelan citizen, when presented before the criminal judge, sent her to jail for 64 months in prison. She imposed a fine of I don't know if this, what is this, millones, and ordered her to be expelled from the country once she completes her sentence. Okay, my next story is from H13N. It says 8 trans women to jail for theft for national and foreign citizens. That's right. This is who's out on the street robbing you now. And you watch this story in conjunction with the next one, and you get why I'm putting it out there. It says 8 trans women to jail. The Attorney General's office, through the Guarantee Control Judge, issued an insurance measure in a prison against 8 trans women and who would have formed a criminal gang to allegedly commit thefts, especially foreigners. The events occurred in the El Poblado neighborhood of Medellin. The accused, identified as female, were charged by the prosecutor for the use of minors in for crimes such as qualified theft, aggravated, and conspiracy to commit crime. According to the investigation, between October 4th, 2020 and May 9th, the defendants would have stolen at least 19 passers from the pink zone of the El Poblado neighborhood in South Medellin. Judicial police work showed that the modus operandi consisted of approaching the victims to supposedly offer them sexual services. At the time, they blocked their way and distracted them to seize their cell phones and other belongings. It is presumed that minors participated in 2 events. And I'm showing this video because this came from the news also. They had a couple of pictures of it, how they do it. They're grabbing your crotch, guys. They're not searching for the money belt. They're throwing you off. When you get that touched, and they're doing something else. Remember, distraction. Among the affected men are citizens of the United States, Mexico, Israel, Turkey, Germany, and Colombians. The investigated were captured by the national police. None of the defendants accept their responsibility for the events. So there you go. My next story is from Minuto 30. Now put that story with this one. It says they are looking for these 10 women in Bogota. They will be using toxic substances to steal. Okay, in other words, they're scoping you. Okay, and these are girls. So yeah, the trans ones. Be careful, guys. Yeah, be careful when you're pulling off on the side of the street. Okay, stop the street pulling. Put it that way. They are looking for these 10 women in Bogota. They would be using toxic substances to steal. They offer up to a 10 million reward for these women. Okay, and I'm showing the pictures here. It says the Metropolitan Police of Bogota published through its Twitter account a poster with the photograph of 10 women accused of theft through the use of toxic substances. According to General Jorge Eliezer Camacho, commander for the Metropolitan Police in Bogota, these women would be acting in small groups looking for opportunities in those places or establishments where they observe people who have a high consumption of intoxicating beverages. You hear that, guys? When you're drinking too much. And they try to approach them to achieve their goal. In addition, according to the authorities, with the use of toxic substances, they leave their victims defenseless in order to steal from them. Likewise, the authorities offered a reward up to 10 million pesos for those provided information that allows the captures of these women. The police provided a secure line to report, guaranteeing absolute confidentiality. Okay, my last one again. This one is from Colombia. Defense News. Okay, because it's got to do with the tanks and stuff from between the U.S. and Colombia. It says Colombia seeks Abrams tanks amid new ally status with U.S. So looks like Colombia is going to have a new ally status with us, the United States. They're not part of NATO, but they're going to have some special partner. I guess that just means we can sell them stuff, and I don't know. This one, it says Santiago, Chile. Colombia has asked the U.S. about procuring secondhand M1A2 Abrams tanks to bolster their armored capacity of its land forces, local military sources have told Defense News. Colombia is currently on a path of becoming a major non-NATO ally of the U.S., with President Joe Biden in March announcing the process has begun. It says the Colombian army currently has no main battle tanks. The main armored vehicle in its inventory is the Brazilian-built Agnesa EE9 Cascavel, a 6-wheel drive armored truck fitted with a 90mm gun, of which 123 were bought back in the 1980s. Plans to procure at least 50 main battle tanks were unveiled about 20 years ago. The country's focus on upgrading and diversifying the conventional capabilities comes after decades of prioritizing equipment and training to fight terrorism, insurgencies, and drug trafficking. Okay, I have to squeeze this story in. I had forgotten that this is going to be my last news video for Colombia before the elections. The elections in Colombia are this Sunday, the 29th. Now, I'm told that whenever they have elections, they have issues immediately after, meaning there could be protest, or I don't want to think of anything worse than protest, but there could be some problems. So my researcher, had sent me this yesterday, because I recorded this actually yesterday. I wanted to make sure that I had added this to it. This story actually comes from The Intercept, but I am going to read a letter that's within this story, because this pertains to what could happen after the elections and what's been going on recently as well. Now, keep in mind, and I told you before, when they start protesting, get out of Dodge, get out of Dodge. if you remember, if you're new to my channel and you didn't see my video last year when I walked up on the protest, check this out. Holy shit. Okay, it's time to go. What the fuck was that for? Oh! Oh shit. Okay. Oh shit. There's my man. Oh, with the cowbell. They're throwing that shit back. Oh shit. It's burning. It is gas. Exactly. So one reason you want to stay away is putting yourself in that type of position because it could get way worse than that. But let me read this story for you. This is a letter. It is entitled Colombian Democracy Under Threat. It's dated May 23rd, 2022. It says parliamentarians and public figures from over 20 countries sound alarm ahead of 29 May presidential elections in Colombia. It says, we elected representatives and leaders from around the world express our grave concern for the growing threat of violence, assassination, and intervention in Colombia's presidential elections on May 29th. Earlier this month, an assassination plot by paramilitary group La Cordilla against candidate and sitting senator Gustavo Petro was revealed to the public. Both Petro and his running mate, Francia Marquez Mina, have survived assassination attempts in the past. Petro as a presidential candidate in 2018 and Francia Marquez as an activist in 2019. Now death threats regularly circulate on social media platforms, threatening their lives and their right to political expression just days before the final vote. Political violence is not contained to the candidates. As of writing, more than 50 social leaders, including trade unionists, indigenous and Afro-Colombian representatives, peasant movement organizers, and environmentalists have been murdered this year in an attempt to intimidate and eliminate Colombia's popular movements. Now the narco-paramilitary Guyanista Self-Defense Force of Colombia, the AGC, have launched an armed strike that has paralyzed entire regions, killing dozens and endangered the democratic process. Says members of Congress have already warned of intervention at the highest levels of the Colombian government, including from top military officials. These warnings have grown louder following suspension of democratically elected leaders earlier this month, raising concerns about the possibility of targeted lawfare. Together, these threats call for greater vigilance, scrutiny, and transparency in Colombia's presidential elections. For decades, the people of Colombia have demanded peace and dignity. We right now in solidarity with their struggle for a free and peaceful democratic process. And there's quite a few people, I'll make sure I record this so you can see this. This is people from all around the world: Argentina, France, Chile, Greece, Brazil, Spain, the United Kingdom. I mean, look at this list. This is people, this is a lot. These are some major countries. Let's see, United Kingdom, Brazil, bunch of people from Brazil, Bolivia, and of course, people in Argentina. In that area are going to be more concerned. So just be aware that this could happen if you go there shortly after the 29th, or you're there on the 29th of May of this year. If you're there, you're an expat. Hopefully you're familiar with how to move around then. So I won't give you guys advice, but if it were me and I was in town, I'd be staying in my room for a little while, at least staying away from the trouble. Okay, so there you go. I'm going to leave it at there. I had a kind of lighter one, but I'm going to hold off on that one for now. I'm just keeping you up to date on the newest news stories in Colombia, in Medellin, Colombia, and Colombia as a whole. Please join my social media. Things are picking up recently. I recently passed 10,000, so thank you everybody who's watching this video, everybody who has watched my videos, especially for the past 3 years. This weekend would have been exactly 3 years before I started blogging when I moved. That first day I moved. Go back and check. I'm going to do a video from my first day there and so on and so on. So you'll see the quality sucked back then. So I'm trying to be more professional. Every video I do, I try to get better and better and learn something from it. So anyway, thank you guys for your support. Be safe.
So I hope you liked this video. If you did, make sure you go down and hit subscribe definitely like. It helps that YouTube algorithm. You know what I'm talking about? See what I'm saying?
Join me on social media. I am dcbornrob official on Instagram. I am dcbornrob official 1 on TikTok. I am dcbornrob O on Twitter. Don't be like this guy right here. You're just so stupid. I had to send you a video to let you know you're so stupid. That's right. Don't be like this guy right here. Join me on social media.
We have a YouTube channel, like it!
Please comment and share if you like the video. Please subscribe and kick the bell.